So I'm going to go ahead and color the cover of my workbook. I chose to work with the kindergarten workbook for this video. I decided I wanted to use the primary colors for the letters for art, A-R-T. So I made my A red, my R is yellow, and my T is going to be blue. And if you notice, I'm using markers and I'm actually outlining around the edge of my work first and then coloring in within that, and that helps me stay within the lines. Now I decided to use crayons for my box of crayons because I like the texture and I thought it would help them look like real crayons. And I decided to paint them in rainbow order, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then purple, which is pretty much how you get them out of the box. Now for the crayon box, I decided I kind of wanted to look like a Crayola crayon box, and that yellow Crayola box color is a little bit orange, so I decided to use colored pencils for this. So I'm just really lightly going over the whole thing with a yellow colored pencil. I'm going to lightly go over again with orange to get it kind of like an orange yellow, a little bit more like a Crayola box. And if you notice, I'm actually making this part behind the crayons a little bit darker, so it kind of looks like the light is hitting it and there's a shadow there. I also like to use colored pencils whenever I'm doing smaller spaces because you get it's much easier to get that point in those narrow edges. Now for my paint blobs, I decided to use markers because markers look a little bit more liquid, and since paint is a liquid, I thought it would kind of give it that liquid texture. I decided to do my 2 paint blobs in 2 of the secondary colors. So this one's purple and the next one's gonna be orange. And you can see again, I'm taking my marker and I'm outlining the whole shape of what I'm gonna color in first before I go in. That just helps me stay within the lines. Now, you can color in your cover however you want to do it. It does not need to look like mine. Now, since I used 2 of the secondary colors, I used purple and orange, I decided to balance out my drawing by using green for the paintbrush handle. Again, those bristles get kind of narrow, so I decided to opt for a colored pencil so I could get inside those narrow lines. And I made the middle one a little bit darker than the rest for some variety. And that was just a black colored pencil that I drew with really, really lightly to make it look like gray silver. So I decided to make my glue kind of look like Elmer's, and on this one I just outlined the outlines of the cap in marker, and then I colored it in with orange crayon. And I'm going to do the same with the label, so I outlined it with green and I colored it in really lightly with a green colored pencil. And I'm just going to outline the letters of my workbook, but I'm going to keep them in that rainbow order. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. And then whenever I run out of letters, I'm just going to repeat that pattern. The nice thing I like about colored pencils is the harder you press on them, the darker they get. So the nice thing about crayons is they kind of work the same way, but you get a lot more variety whenever you are using colored pencils as far as how dark you can make it. You can see here, I'm just taking my crayons and I'm scribbling over my letters in the same color that I outlined them in marker with. One thing I like to do is if I know that I want to outline something or be able to draw over something with marker, I do not use crayons because, don't forget to put your name on your work. Because crayons are wax, whenever you try and go over them with markers, which are liquid, which are water-based, they kind of lay on the surface of the crayon and it doesn't turn out very well. So if I know I'm going to go over something with marker, I'll purposely use colored pencils. So for my border, I decided to do a variation of a pattern. So I'm putting complementary colors next to each other. So red and green, orange and blue, and then yellow and purple. And don't worry if you mess up. Look, I definitely messed up my pattern. That's okay. I'm going to repeat the pattern on the other side. So if I mess up here, I can make it work on the other side. There we go. Here's my pattern. I'm putting the reds in first. I'm just counting in between, so I have enough space between my reds to fill in with the other colors. I'm putting green next to my red because green and red are complementary. I'm putting orange down, and then blue is going to go next to orange because orange and blue are complementary colors. Yellow, and I'm going to put purple next to the yellow because purple and yellow are complementary colors.